Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Munir Al-Azouzi from easymedicaldevice.com. And first of all, I wanted to wish you a happy new year and all my best wishes. So I hope this year will be successful for you and you will be really happy. So on this episode, I wanted really to talk about a topic that is interesting for everybody, which is PMCF. I had made an interview with Hélène Equi a few months ago, end of November, so 1 month ago nearly, regarding PMCF at Medica conference. So I wanted to share this with you just for the people that were asking me to provide some more information about PMCF. So Hélène is the CEO of QMed Consulting, and she was really helpful and really provided a lot of information in the previous episode of the podcast regarding the CER, so the Clinical Evaluation Report, specifically about product equivalence. And today I wanted to share with you this interview where she is helping us to understand what is a PMCF. Because there is a lot of misunderstanding about this. Some are thinking that this is kind of a clinical investigation. Some are asking, do we need that? What is it? When do I need to do it? Etc. etc. So I tried to ask Hélène all those questions so that she can really help you about the understanding of that. I wanted also to thank you very much for all the people that were subscribing to this podcast. To all the people that are following me, I'm really, really proud of that because really we grow the community and it's now a big one. And I wanted really to ask you to continue, please, to support me, to continue to subscribe, to continue to provide some reviews of the podcast. It's really helping me a lot and helping me to share that with everybody. So waiting for your reviews, your subscriptions, your likes on the video and also on the podcast. So go to Apple Podcast or Google Podcast or Spotify and just provide a small review, even to say, yes, it's a great podcast, and then just click submit. Okay, so thank you for that. Okay, now let's listen to this episode with Hélène Equi and then I'll come back later. Hello everyone, I'm here with Hélène Equi. We had Hélène on my podcast. We talked about product equivalence, I think for a CER specifically. So I think it was really a great information that she provided. And today I met her at Medica 2019 and I wanted to ask her some few questions about PMCF. So Hélène, welcome first to this new episode. I wanted to ask you is mainly, what is a PMCF and when do I need that on my dossier or on my regulatory activities?
Yeah. Basically, PMCF is part of your PMS, so your post-market surveillance, and PMCF is post-market clinical follow-up. So when you have your PMS, you need to be aware about how to follow your product when it's at the market.
Okay.
And when you increase in the risk classification, then of course the requirement will be higher and higher. And there are, especially for class 3 and implants, there is a requirement to follow it closely in patients, the safety and performance continuously at the market.
So when I'm building my post-marketing surveillance, I should already think about the PMCF.
Yes.
And I think I should create a PMCF plan then that should be included inside.
Yes. Your PMCF plan is a specific part of your clinical evaluation, which is part of your technical documentation.
Okay.
And there are specific requirements which are very nicely lined out in the MDR. And it is, and they're also coming very good guidelines out for MDCG, and they will try and guide you the way on what actually data to collect for which type of documents. So there are PMCF studies. Yeah. So they can be new investigations that you initiate. And they can be based on, for instance, an example is that you have a very broad indication, but your initial clinical investigation on a high-risk class products is very narrow.
Okay.
And under that broad indication, you might want to add another claim, not a new indication, but maybe a little different patient population, subgroup, whatever, and that will require real clinical evidence, so a new clinical investigation.
So it's a new clinical investigation, but it's not a PMCF, or is it?
It is a PMCF. Okay. You might have an indication which, as I say, is very broad, but in your clinical trial you are only able to, it's under your indication for use, but because of you normally have restricted inclusion and exclusion criteria during your trial, you don't have the full population, and you know that you direct that in your clinical evaluation, say that's your clinical development plan, that you tell, this is my indication, I will go for my indication here, and then my PMCF, I will broaden out the scope for in a broader population, and then collect continuously safety and performance
okay. So
data.
On the PMCF, mainly it's when the product is already on the market.
Yeah.
Then you can do a survey, you can do an investigation, as you said, you can do also a literature search. It's what I saw also,
yes.
So it's something that is possible for them.
Yeah, you have to distinguish, or the MDR asks you to distinguish between passive and active data collection. So literature is a passive, it's something that comes to you, complaints and all these things that comes into the company. But you at the same time will have to go out and seek information, and that's where the studies, your registers, your surveys is of great help. Surveys and user test is mostly about the performance, not so much about the safety. Okay. So there you have to go into more clinical studies, and these can be retrospective or they can be prospective, looking forward.
Okay, so we said also that it should be included on the technical documentation.
Yes.
So it means that each year or each 2 years I have to update my technical documentation?
Yeah. You would have to, the CER for a high-risk class product is every year. So you have to keep on your toes and make sure that you have a program where you can collect data which will not kill the company financially. So that's the trick. So find a way that, for instance, with a setup, you can make umbrella protocols where you have different indication underneath, and you can make investigator-initiated studies where the collection of data is relatively easy. You still have to ensure that the data collected is of sufficient quality and amount, like always, basically, and it makes good sense. And of course, if I think the trick is only to collect what you need. There is a tendency, which I see, is that you would like to collect everything. Now I started this up and I want to collect everything. It's better to do what is my objective and go strictly after that, and then maybe next time, because you will have to do this continuously. So, prioritize, do your gap assessment on your clinical evidence, and then figure out priority-wise which one is most important for my money and my approval and all these things for the company. Initiate these trials and have your clinical development plan, which will, when it's CE mark, it will be your post-market clinical follow-up plan.
Okay, good. So now there is also a case that people are thinking about, or thinking mostly is mainly, maybe I don't need a PMCF. I don't need that. And it says on the regulation that you can still have justification for not putting in place a PMCF. Does it mean that you will not have on your technical documentation a PMCF plan, but a non-PMCF justification? Is it that?
That's the way. And I think for low-risk class products, there might be cases where that can happen. Yeah.
But do you see, for example, what are really the triggers to say, I don't need that?
I don't see that many triggers.
This is the issue. It's the fact that there will be some manufacturers who say, no, I don't need that, but what exactly they should think about, say, to have really a great justification to say, I don't need that, because I think there is a lot of notified body that will receive those messages, I have a justification for not putting in place a PMCF. I think they will take the MedDev and they will just look at all the triggers to initiate a PMCF and say, no, I'm not innovative, no, I'm here on the market since a long time, no, this and that, and put that. But it will not really work.
It will not work, and I think one of the key things is that you have normally approved under very general indication and intended use, and when it's out there in the broader population, it's used for a lot of other things, and you have to take proactively action on that, and that will trigger that you will get this as feedback data to you, and you have to follow it. So even though that you say initially I don't need it, when it hits the market, if it's used, your product, you will get squeezed back.
Exactly.
It's new literature. It's new claims that would like to be addressed to this product. It's complaints. It's so you will have to do something. These activities are also part of your PMS.
And so mainly we see that maybe only class 1 devices that are low risk can really justify for no PMCF, but high risk.
You will still have your PMS, but your PMCF studies you might not need, but you will maybe use surveys, other, not so complicated things to do.
Okay, good. So I hope it answers all your questions about PMCF and maybe some triggers that you think that are applicable to not have a PMCF and it's not. So thank you, Hélène, for those information.
Thank you.
So let's enjoy Medica.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Hélène. It was really a great answers, and I hope this is really helping you. One thing to add, I know that also the European Commission was planning to release a PMCF template. Apparently, it's delayed, but I'll try to create one for you and to provide that on my website. Just for your information, so what exactly is needed with the PMCF. There is some differences related to the PMCF under the MedDev guidance and what is required under the MDR. So there is a bit more information that are required. So don't make a mistake to just use the previous template maybe you had with the MedDev and look specifically on the, can't remember which annex it was. 12 or 13, I can't remember. 13, 14, I can't remember. Yeah, one of those. The last annex after the Annex 11. There is a section regarding PMCF, and it tells you specifically what should be on the PMCF. So, but I will try, as I've said, to provide you a template as soon as possible. I hope I can do that quickly, but. Okay, so don't forget to please subscribe to this podcast. Don't forget also to share this episode with all the people that you think would benefit of it. So as I've said, I'm not here to just spam people. I'm here really to provide as much value as possible for you. So if you think that somebody else is needing this information, please share that with this person. And as I've said, please don't forget to provide a review of the podcast. It's really helping me a lot. Okay, so thank you for your help. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I wish you a nice day.